Hi Aquarius, this is your general reading for January 2020. Keep in mind it is a general read, so if it doesn't resonate, please check your moon, rising or Venus signs. So what I'm getting first of all is this really strong message of you surrendering to divine timing and also trusting universal flow. I feel as though in the past, if there was any tendency to need to know your path or need to know the outcome before you took certain risks or took a step forward, I feel like that energy is what's shifting this month. There seems to be this movement towards just surrender, trusting in divine timing, trusting in spirit to really guide and lead you. I'm also hearing for some of you, your path, you may feel like you're walking through the dark, or your path may be unfolding in a way that your mind is unable to comprehend, but spirit is confirming that you're in perfect alignment and it is going to lead to your, I don't know if betterment is the word, but to your benefit in the future. It is going to be blessed and you are being kind of guided and nurtured, but it's almost as though spirit is really testing you and leading you closer into just divine union, into that process of releasing expectation while still trusting your heart and soul to navigate through the physical realm. You're less perhaps concrete in terms of how that will unfold or what that looks like. Now we have compassion showing up twice. So I also think January is a month for you where you're really gentle on yourself. You're nurturing your own heart. You're getting in touch and almost swimming through the emotional body. And that ties into that moon energy as well. I do feel for some of you, you may be realizing you have certain emotions tied to past situations or particular activities that have been either not necessarily denied, but repressed. And now you're in that vibration and frequency of wanting to really share it, wanting to take a new path, wanting to explore certain emotions or energies you may have held against yourself. Any tendency towards self-criticism and judgment, I think, is being released and surrendered so that you're able to perhaps not only live your best life, but experience the most joy, move through the world with tremendous love. And what we have on this side is not only compassion, but also love. I'm hearing your compassion towards yourself and your willingness to nurture and really support your own growth and well-being is what will draw in love into your world and into your realm. But again, you can see the hands. The hands are open, just waiting for what spirit brings. However love decides to show up, it's almost as though this person and this energy is grateful. Now, that could be taken out of context. I don't mean you're grateful for just anyone showing up at your doorstep, but there is that sense of being receptive to love and blessings in whatever manner spirit deems fit rather than the mind. So there is this shift towards the emotional body rather than the mental, the mental constructs. It's almost as though when experiences are happening during this month, you're learning how to drop into the heart and soul space and experience them through that aspect rather than processing everything first through the mind and then the emotions either being dealt with later or potentially being suppressed. There's some sort of shift in how you deal with your world and reality. And as I say that, we have soul work and boundaries. So for some of you, what your emotional body is teaching you this month is how to nurture and respect yourself. Really strong energy here around self-compassion and self-love. Really honoring your needs, putting your priorities first and not allowing, although there's this need to be discriminating in terms of who accesses your energy and who comes into your life, that's different from the need to perhaps control how things flow, if that makes sense. So you're in that divine place of surrendering to spirit and how things can naturally manifest, but at the same time, you're using your mind in conjunction with the emotional self and the soul. There's a certain level of balance I think you achieve in January, and it's almost this alchemy. And with the Chariot as well, this is my card for moving away from the collective or collective consciousness. So for some of you, you may really feel the need during January to take time to yourself, for self-care, for I'm also hearing listening and hearing your own voice and your own needs. If there is a tendency at times to prioritize family or a partner or, you know, other people's needs, your career, whatever it may be, I think this month Aquarius is really learning how to best care for self, whether through kind of diet, relaxation, healing techniques, and then how much more you have to share and give, not only to others in personal connection, but to the world in general. I think some of you may have had this tendency with the Chariot to charge ahead, to say your body was fatigued or you felt this need to take some time out for yourself to care for yourself. Your mind may have told you, oh no, you know, I need to get this done by a certain time frame, a certain date. And sometimes that can be inescapable, but there seems to be better balance in your life in general, whether that's work-life balance or just in terms of self-care versus garnering your energy externally. I'm almost seeing this movement inwards. And as I say that, we have next to it the Four of Voices or the Four of Swords. Especially for Aquarius, I feel if you have the opportunity to kind of go to a spa or whatever works for you, a meditation class, a yoga class, anything that really, getting your hair done, something as simple as that, that really allows you to feel pampered for, and then you in turn direct this compassion and energy back towards self. I just feel this is a month where you really need to take time out to not only listen to your heart and soul and your emotional self, but care for yourself. And on the bottom of the deck, I just remembered we also had the moon. So we're seeing the moon twice. So for some, I do feel this, you may almost be getting more in touch with these feminine energies. I think for you, January is almost an ethereal month. A whimsical, a lot of feminine energy. Emotions may come to the surface that you hadn't been conscious of for quite some time. But I also see this time out is going to flood in more blessings and opportunities as well. And with this Seven of Voices, which is the Seven of Swords in the traditional deck, there's this sense that you may have certain thought patterns or mental patterns that aren't conducive to your well-being and your desires. Or for some of you, you may be grieving. There may have been some sort of disappointment or loss, and that's what's triggering these emotions to be excavated or flow to the surface. But for some of you, I feel if there was this trigger, it's also triggering back repressed pain or repressed emotion from other situations, not just from the particular event. Okay, what we have as well is the Seven of Materials. So for some of you, you may have just been very busy investing in your career, your life purpose, your abundance, your family, your home. And that could be why there's this need for a respite or need as well to reconsider where you want to invest. For some of you, you may have had a mental concept of what you wanted to do in the world in terms of this is what I need to do to be successful, or this is the amount of income and money I want to earn to feel secure. And while they're valid priorities, it may not have been in alignment or congruence with your spiritual values or your emotional self. Your heart and soul may be telling you that it wants to experience whatever it may be, while your mind is pulling you in a different direction. So I see almost a tug of war. So for some of you, you may have achieved a certain level of abundance and success that you are grateful for, and you know you respect what's manifested, but you're also looking at, now that I've achieved a certain stage level, a certain amount of success, do I want to branch off in a new direction? Or do I want to prioritize other areas that, although they may not be as materially or financially abundant or have the same payoff, is going to lead to and create greater joy and happiness internally? And that's kind of the contrast we see here with this Ten of Materials or Ten of Pentacles and the Ace of Material, the Page of Materials. So it could be also voicing what you want more of, whether that's just silently acknowledging this within yourself and your own being and really accepting and honoring different desires that are coming to the surface, or whether it's expressing it in a relationship or in your workplace. There's some sort of movement from something that's already been established that yes, you're content with and happy with, although it may not have fulfilled you at an emotional level to the degree you desire, to having a new beginning. or it could be the movement from investing in one connection to another, or the desire to start a side project, side business, move your career in a new direction. What we have is the Four of Inspiration. So whatever this new beginning is for you, whether it's personally, romantically, or in terms of work, there's a sense that it creates a stable foundation for you, but it's also something you love. It generates this feeling of love and abundance and blessing. And with Strength here, I feel as though you're reflecting, and during January especially, you're reflecting on, number one, what empowers you, what lifts you to new heights, but also what satisfies your heart. So if there has been this tendency to put a lot of effort or energy into someone or something that perhaps wasn't panning out the way you hoped, I see this movement inwards so you can then redirect your attention and energy to what will satisfy you, or what does really serve you and is going to create and generate blessings in your future. With Temperance, it ties into what I was feeling in terms of, I just saw 1111 as I said that. For some of you, you may very well be wanting to move towards a soulmate or a twin flame connection, and that's what this movement is, this shifting in focus or priorities. But for others of you, with this Temperance, I feel as though it's achieving that perfect alignment and balance between mind, body, and spirit. And for some of you, I do feel it's been out of whack, and there may have been too much effort directed to the physical or material realms and not enough on the emotional self or the soul. For others of you, I feel as though the mind has been very strong and very overactive. You're very sharp and you have these great ideas and visions, but it's not informed, or whatever you were creating and manifesting wasn't fully satisfying the heart space. And that's why there's this shift to a very gentle and feminine energy while you're perhaps creating new conditions or really assessing what you want moving forward, what that looks like, how you can achieve your desires in a way that's still balanced, and you're still taken care of financially, and perhaps even you're still intellectually stimulated, but you're satisfied on every level of being. For some of you, I do see you may be investing or creating more time for self-care in the form of yoga, meditation, tai chi, anything that creates a spiritual balance or alignment. What we see here is the Muse of Voices or the King of Swords. So again, it's this, I'm hearing it's the shaking up of mental energy that perhaps had become too rigid, or for some of you, perhaps there was a particular goal that you were working towards, or even a particular person or relationship, and you're now reassessing that. It's this movement as well from the need for the mind to control how your journey and path unfolds versus trusting in spirit and trusting instincts. I do see Aquarius really dropping into the emotional body and also their passion, their desire, and allowing those yearnings or impressions to guide and direct them, as opposed to orchestrating events through the mental body. Now, finishing on the Queen of Inspiration, and what a perfect example of this shift I was feeling. This movement away from this King of Swords to the Queen of Inspiration, shifting from very masculine energy, and you can be female and be in your masculine energy for a period of time, to a feminine energy that runs on passion and desire. And also you see this woman, her eyes are closed. She's trusting spirit. She's trusting life to lead and guide her. And she's following what lights her up as opposed to what she feels she should do, she or he. So that's where that shift and change is coming in. I do feel for a lot of you, you may choose to walk away from a path that was perhaps more linear, or that you were more experienced in, to start something fresh. This could be in relationship, but it could also be in terms of desires and passion, life purpose, just within your own being. I just feel for Aquarius, there is a new beginning that's generated from an awareness of the emotional self and perhaps what has and hasn't worked in the past. There's this acknowledgement of what you need emotionally and spiritually, and how that can inform or change how you move through the world. So that's all I have for you, Aquarius. I hope this reading resonates and I hope you have a beautiful day.